Know how this idea started. Who had the first idea of this project, and how did you develop? How did you contribute? Did you use some notes that you had while you were writing the book, some material from that?
To answer the last bit of the question first, I would say that I had more than half of the new material already written, or in note form. It might not have been.
Know how this idea started. Know how this idea started.
Journal. Can you just tell us a little bit about your decision to go direct to consumers with selling books? Obviously, I would imagine that Apple and Amazon are not happy about that.
Well, I can't speak for anyone else. The decision was really quite straightforward for me. Firstly, it means that, Harry Potter was obviously an international phenomenon, and it means that we can guarantee that people everywhere are getting the same experience. At pretty much the same time, a large part of the fandom will be able to receive this experience at exactly the same time, which was extremely appealing to me. I'm phenomenally lucky in that I have the resources to do it myself, and therefore I got to do it, I think, right. I think that this is a fantastic and a unique experience that I can afford, in every sense, to take my time over.
Know how this idea started. Who had the first?
Hi, I'm Olivia Solon from Wired. I wanted to ask if
audiobooks, and for the first time, the long-awaited. Is that your final answer?
Fans will find out that they're one of the lucky million to be the first to explore and shape Pottermore. In October, the site opens to all, complete with the shop selling ebooks and audio. We now have around 10 minutes for questions. Before asking your question, could I please ask that you give your name and where you're from? Could you please wait for the mic to come around to you before speaking? We probably don't have time for any in-depth or technical questions during this session, but a small team from the Pottermore group, including Tarek, Ron Kenwood, Tom Turkin, sitting here in the front row, will be available to speak for a short while after Joe leaves for a photo call.
Apple or Amazon for some money for that?
I think we could give you a bit more information after the session, as I said, with Rob and Tom and myself. You will be able to read your ebooks you bought on any device that you choose to. That's one of the joys of the plan that we are creating here. The desire was to make the Harry Potter books as widely available as possible in a digital format, similarly how we try to operate over the past years, trying to make the books available in audio and braille on the launch so that the widest community possible can read them. Next question, the gentleman over there.
know how this idea started. Who had the first idea of this project, and how did you develop? How did you contribute it? Did you use some notes that you had while you were writing the book, some material from them?
To answer the last bit of the question first, I would say that I had more than half of the new material already written, or in note form. It might not have been written in a form that you would read it now, but I knew more than half of it already, and I dug some of it out of boxes, literally. And I've also generated some new content, particularly for the introduction to the houses. That was a fun opportunity to go back and rethink how it might have been if Harry followed a different course. So I enjoyed doing that a lot. The original idea, I would say, came out of discussions between us, between Neil and myself. We knew there was a big demand for ebooks, but I wanted to do something as well as that. I wanted to do something. If it was going to be done, I wanted it to be more than that. And obviously we've had a lot of requests to do all sorts of games and online interactive games and so forth. And I wanted it to pull it back to reading. I just kept wanting to pull it back to the literary experience, the story experience. And this is what emerged from those discussions. So we started working on this seriously a couple of years ago. And you can probably see I've had a lot to do with virtually every aspect of it.
Just right here.
Thomas Green of the Daily newspaper itself. We once exchanged letters 11 years ago after the Goblet of Fire had appeared.
Oh, that was
I
you.
wanted to give you a prize. And I was so very complimentary to the fourth novel, which I felt at the time was breaking the sound barrier of great literature. And you kind of responded in two handwritten pages, which I've treasured ever since. Anyway, my question is, those traditional paragraphs and stories that you value, will they also be in print eventually, or will they only be available online and digitally?
Well, in some ways, will they ever appear in print? I don't know at the moment. The technology, the world has kind of outstripped me in the sense that back in 1998, I knew I was generating a lot more material than would ever appear in the books. It was simply ridiculous that anyone, to me at the time, I thought, who will ever want to know the significance of all these different wandwoods? This was all in my head, but I thought, well, so then at that time, the only way I could imagine I would ever put that material out there would be in the form of a printed book. Now, in fact, you will, if you are so minded, you can go and look and see what the significance of your wandwood is once you've got your wand. You have to read it all, but it's just such a rich experience to do it this way. Will there ever be an encyclopedia? Possibly. Well, I would say two things about the encyclopedia. Firstly, I've always said, and I stand by it, whenever I do a print encyclopedia, I would like all the proceeds to go to charity. Back in 1998, I never dreamt I personally would be in a position where I could set up a large charitable foundation and I personally could be doing things for charity. And I've done other charity books already. So I can do stuff for charity without writing an encyclopedia. And the other thing is, this is free. So you don't have to buy anything to access what you've seen today. This is not, you don't have to pay to get the extra material, you don't have to buy a single thing to go on to Pottermore and have the whole experience you've just seen. And that was really important to me. This was about the give back. You know, the technology now existed to just do something outside the books and the films for existing fans.
Next question, please. Lady, I think. Could you just wait for the mic? Okay.
Hi Joe, Nina Nannar from ITN. Hi. You have been quoted in the past as talking about how difficult it was to say goodbye to Harry Potter when you wrote the last book. So this is a way, of course, for you to be able to keep your boy for a little bit longer?
It is exactly like an ex-boyfriend. It is true to say that when finishing writing Harry, I've only ever cried in that way and as much ever in my life with my mum cried. And I never cried for a man as I cried for Harry Potter, ever. And so we're now casually dating, as you can see. I'm happy for 2 years and I've been keeping that quiet. It is a little frightening how easily I slip in and out of that world, I'll be completely honest. When I came to write up notes or when I generated new material, which I have done in places, completely new material, I just thought this is extraordinary how easily I can move in and out of it. And that's been wonderful. But I do have closure with Harry. There are, and I think it's important to say, I have no plans to write another novel. This has been an amazing way of staying in touch with that part of my life. But I'm pretty sure I'm done on the novel front. So. But it was fun while it lasted.
Next question.
Yes.
Just behind Mark.
Kristen Becker, German Public Radio. I was wondering, so about the registration process for the website. So it is free, but what kind of information do you have to put down?
Sorry, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, I'll take that. We've been really responsible with our data on this project, as you can imagine. So it's a very, very, very limited amount of data, the absolute basics required to get you in.
Like what?
Name, age, month and year of birth, and I think that's about it. Emails, of course, we need to get in touch with you. That's about it.
But do you need the email to actually register, or?
You do. We have to validate your email. We need to know who you are.
As I said before, when we're finished, we are going to be able to take more questions on the technical level. So if you wanted to follow up with that in more detail, then Tarek, Rod and Tom will be available. Next question, gentleman in the white t-shirt. Yep.
Hi, I'm Ricky from BBC News Round.
Hi.
Obviously, lots of children have grown up and they've read the books, but you've got a new generation of kids, 7 or 8, and getting into them again. You say you get thousands of letters from fans. Are you not worried you're going to add fuel to the fire now and get even more fans interested and even more fans? You'll get even more bags. Would it be? Is it quite overwhelming?
Not all of the mail. I like 99% of the mail.
Okay.
So. No, I'm not worried about that in the slightest. The books, it's impossible to overstate what Harry Potter was to me. Completely changed my life. Creatively, I loved it. It'll never happen again, to me anyway. If it'll happen to someone else, there'll be another series of books that's as big. But, you know, I adore my readers. I love my readers. And any writer would like to think that they will continue to be read. I thought a question that would come earlier, but I'm going to answer it spontaneously now, is the sort of print e-book debate. It is my view you can't hold back progress. E-books are here, they're here to stay. Personally, I love print and paper, but very, very recently, later than a lot of people, because I'm not very technically adept, in fact this year, I for the first time downloaded e-books, and it's miraculous. For travel, and with children particularly, you can carry around 1,000 books in your pocket on a small device. It's an extraordinary thing. So I feel great about this, about taking Harry Potter into this new medium. But, I still love a printed paper book. I think you can enjoy both.
Just quickly, did you come up with the name Pottermore?
I did actually, yes. I found that.
Okay.
We had quite a lot of discussions about that, but that was me.
I think we've got time for 2 more questions. Just before I do that, another point I'd just like to say, as hopefully across from things all 3 of us said, the big motivation behind
Your journal. Can you just tell us a little bit about your decision to go direct to consumers with selling books? Obviously, I would imagine that Apple and Amazon are not happy about that.
Well, I can't speak for anyone else. The decision was really quite straightforward for me. Firstly, it means that Harry Potter is obviously an international phenomenon, and it means that we can guarantee that people everywhere are having the same experience. At pretty much the same time, a large part of the fandom will be able to receive this experience at exactly the same time, which was extremely appealing to me. I'm phenomenally lucky in that I have the resources to do it myself, and therefore I got to do it, I think, right. I think that this is a fantastic and a unique experience that I can afford, in every sense, to take my time over, find the right people, and think of being extraordinary, to make this come alive. And there was really no other way to do that for the fans or for me than to just do it myself. Not every author could do it. I appreciate that, but I think it was right for Harry Potter. It's also right for Harry Potter because The Potter fandom was one of the first, I think it's fair to say, that was a massive online community, and that was such fun for me as an author to be able to have direct contact with my fans, and I already have a direct presence online. I have my own website already. So it didn't feel like a massive onward step. It was an extension of the existing DIGIBETA.com.
And again, if you want to go into more detail, we'll go around afterwards. Just very shortly, as I said a little bit before, a really strong aim is to make the books as widely available as possible, to have no restrictions about being tethered to any particular device. So that's one of the other motivations. People will be able to buy these books or their files and read them and play them on whatever device they've got. Last question from the lady here.
Hi, I'm Alison Flood from The Guardian. I wanted to ask a bit about the extra material. Can you tell us how much there is and any more fun details that the fans might like to hear about?
I mentioned what I go into the ludicrous. I think my favourite things are the sorting, which I love writing, as I say, because if you get into any of the three houses, the other three houses, apart from Gryffindor, you do end up with an extra bit of that chapter in Philosopher's Stone. That's great to write. And then the wands, I go into ridiculous detail about wand woods and what the cores mean and why it might have chosen you, and every detail on wands. And that was, some of that was I already had in note form, and some of it I wrote anew. The background on Professor McGonagall I've had for years and years and years. And I think I always thought that it would somehow find its way into a story, and it just never happened. Harry and Professor McGonagall never had an interaction or a conversation where that would plausibly come out. So I was left with this life story of this woman, this character I like so much, and nowhere to put it. So now I've got somewhere to put it. So that was so satisfying.
And how much is there?
Oh yeah. Oh God, I don't know.
Lots.
Lots. There's lots. I said about maybe.
About 8,000 words. 18,000 words at launch.
18,000 words at launch, but I'm adding to it, so I'm still digging out boxes, and I will write more as well as we hit subsequent books. In fact, I've already given you material on the other.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't just given material on the first book. There's material on the other 6 books that will be.
Sure. We've probably only used about a third of the material that was supplied so far.
So we've been working on this for about 2 years, so this is the work of quite a few.
Well, thank you. Second question. The books have already been available on Kindle, have they not?
No, never been available.
Only the first time.
Can I ask about Quidditch? Sorry, I just know your fans are going to be asking what's happening to Quidditch on Pottermore.
I don't think I've given all the stuff on Quidditch yet. Men always ask me about Quidditch because the number of, and I love geeky people, so I do not say this in a pejorative way, but the number of geeky men who have come up to me to argue with me about Quidditch, I'd be a lot richer if I had a quid for everyone, and they can't, they just think it's illogical. But it's not illogical, and I had a speech by Dumbledore in the first book that never made it in, explaining why Quidditch is not illogical, so at some point I will put that on the site, and thank you for reminding me.
If you're one of the lucky people who get on the 31st of July, you can give us some ideas.
How many people?
Oh, God, sorry.
31st of July.
Yeah, a million people.
1 million.
Yeah, 1 million. As I said, Ron, Tom and myself and Tarek will be around to answer more questions. We haven't got any more time for questions right now. Kids, could you make yourself known to Mark, and he'll help you. We'll help you with further questions. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you very much for coming. Thanks a lot.
Can we get the background clear, please? Right in the middle,
And over here, please.
keep that speaker out, please.
Joanne, here, please.
And over here, please.
Miss Rowley, here, please, in the middle. Here, please.
Joanne, thank you. Mate, right up the way. Guys, just explain. Where would you like Joe? Where's the
Over here, please.
Is that okay?
No, just need you out of the way, please. Right, here, please, this one here.
Over here, please.
And Joanne, just in the middle, please.
And over here,
And
please.
here, please, Joanne. Here, please. Straight ahead, please.
And go this way, please.
Sorry.
Excuse me. Can you come, can the other boy come a bit closer to
Great, wonderful. Over here, please.
Can we
Guys,
have the background clear?
Guys.
Keep the background clear, please.
Joanne, here, please. Straight ahead, please. Can we?
over here, please. Up here. That's great. Up here, please, guys.
And here, please. Joanne, this one here, please.
And then just back to the centre again.